And these blast points, too accurate for sand people. Only Imperial stormtroopers are so precise. New phone case, old phone case, new phone case. I came very close to not showing this, but this is a channel that has integrity. And all I gotta say is, I must have been real tired last night. Not only was that filament insufficient, but it was insufficient on this, and this, and this. So, I swear I wasn't smoking crack last night. Typically towards the end of the day at the shop, I check all the filaments and then put new spools on the ones that need more. And I just straight up didn't do that. So, it's been a while. Essentially everything else printed fine. We got that. I already took this guy off. Got a spool over here. Got another classic skull can. T-Rex. One of the arms actually fell over mid-print, but that is very quick to make another. Sharko. Alien Boy. Mimic can. I think this one's purely extra. Maybe not. I'll have to check. And of course the G20. Speaking of anthropomorphizing your printers, I'm about to print that Gandalf that messed up because of me on this printer, and I know this printer has never seen a Gandalf before. It's like introducing an old friend to a new song. It is coffee time. Been a bit since I did hot coffee. I think that's what we're on track for. You know, something I noticed when I was in the recording music era of my life is that, like, there are all these recording programs, multi-track recording programs. They're known as DAWs, Digital Audio Workstation. And like, Cubase people will say, man, Cubase is so easy to use. And then Pro Tools people then say like, oh man, Pro Tools is so easy to use. And people that like use Audacity will be like, oh man, you should use Audacity. Audacity is so easy to use. I forget what the one is for Apple computers, but then those guys will be like, oh man, you should switch to Apple because that's so easy to use. Logic. Yeah, Logic dudes are almost kind of annoying. They're almost the vegans of the recording music world. They're all like, yeah man, you should just get a Mac and get Logic because it's so easy to use. Basically, the moral of this story is now that I'm in the 3D printing world, it's the same thing. Like Fusion 360 people are like, man, you should switch to Fusion 360 because like it's so easy to use. And then there are Blender guys that kind of say the same thing. And it's like everybody should just realize the program that you know how to use is probably the program you should use because it's actually the easiest one, kind of by definition. I've used Fusion 360, I've messed around with Blender, but mainly I just use SketchUp and Mesh Mixer, and sometimes I use Mesh Lab. I think that's about it. And honestly, I use them because they're so easy to use. Now I like Dunkin', but it's just because it's so easy to use. Dunkin' Donuts, internationally recognized as the coffee that's easy to use. I just realized I totally meant to get hot coffee. I'm not going to complain about cold coffee. I'm not going to complain about coffee ever. Well, we're about to get into it on social media, on Facebook. I follow a couple of kennels, obviously, around here. Somebody just surrendered an 18-year-old Chihuahua. Like, imagine that. You have a Chihuahua, presumably for most of its life, and like right at the end, this thing's 18 years old, you take it to the pound. Like, imagine how horrible that is. I mean, maybe if you were like going to jail or something and this thing, you didn't have anybody you could give it to or whatever, but in the vast majority of cases, that's just such a crappy thing to do. I feel like there should be a joke about theater kids that the punchline is, yeah, they dramatically underperformed. Well, apparently, this extruder needs replaced. This hot end needs replaced. That is not a super common thing, but every once in a while you get a hot end that just won't heat, and sometimes it'll make that sound. This has happened twice, so I think that's proof positive. Luckily, we have spare hot ends. There's no sense in beating around the bush. Let's replace this guy. Kind of random and unthemed, but I'm just feeling really good. It's like, sometimes it dawns on me every once in a while that things in my life are actually going right for once. I'm just not, that there's some internal thing in me that isn't quite used to that. Like, the business is doing good, I'm getting views, which is nice. I'm like getting to meet cool people in the audience, hear about their stories and like their businesses and stuff like that. It's like everything's kind of going good. Like, reviews are better than they've ever been. I almost hate saying that. But yeah, every day I'm hustling and it feels good. Oh yeah, also random, a week or two ago I decided that if Christmas does go well, like I think it will, I think the one thing I'm gonna do for myself that's just for fun is I think I'm gonna get one of these Roland Aerophones. For anybody that doesn't know, this is a synthesizer, but it's a synthesizer you play like a wind instrument. I guess I've never played flute on this channel, but I play flute and it has fingerings that are like that. I've wanted one of these for probably literally like 10 years. And like, I've watched videos and stuff and I've just never bought one. And it's like, man, if I make a bunch and like my Bitcoin and everything is doing good, like, I'm trying not to just be like a miser, you know, I'm trying to actually like have some fun once in a while. I mean, you see what I do every day. Like, coffee's pretty fun, to be honest. But yeah, maybe if everything goes well and I get one of these, I'll like play a little bit on the channel once in a while or something. Anyway, back to what we were doing. So these magnetic print surfaces are pretty cool, but they have one unbelievably annoying flaw. The bed screws, sometimes you have to hold the screw itself with a screwdriver while you move it. And obviously you can't get to them when this is like stuck on there. So what I'm having to do is like dig into it and get to the screw itself. So whoever makes these, please drill some holes or something. Like, this is stupid. Well, got that done. This is annoying, but it'll work. Okay, it's enough screwing around with other stuff. I'm going to package the things that we painted yesterday. All these guys are going to their forever homes. Let's get the golden boys out the door. Frog out. Little T-Rex dish. Well, this thing's working. I gave it a second to start doing the first layer, but it looks like it's gonna work. So this is a rant, and this is not a political rant. Strictly speaking, this is a philosophical rant. I was listening to some stuff, and something that dawned on me is every political movement you can think of, more or less, is trying to substitute something for morality, or something for being virtuous. Like, when you start thinking about it, it starts making sense. Like, there are populist movements, left, right, whatever, that kind of have the idea, whether they say this or not, that like, if you're poor or you're a common person or you're a worker or whatever it is, then you're one of the good guys. Like, you're a good person, basically. And then you have elitist things that are the opposite, where it's like, well, no, the people in charge, they're the moral ones, and the people on the bottom are all immoral and stupid and blah, blah, blah. And like, obviously that's kind of equally infuriating. And then, of course, like, you start thinking about racial identitarian movements. Like, if you're this race, you're a good person and everybody else is bad, or something like that. Or it could just be the opposite. Like, maybe they don't have any opinion about this, but they just hate a particular group. And it's like, all of that is just chasing... It's like humanity will just do anything it can. Humanity will do anything to not have to be virtuous, it seems like. Or at least at its worst moments. It's like making kids eat their vegetables. At the end of the day, like, all of that stuff is just trying to be a proxy for virtue. And it's almost always like, I mean, it's essentially always BS, right? Like, there is no just canonical group of people that are the good people. Like, there are individuals who are good. There are individuals who are really super evil. Then there's the rest of us that are kind of in the middle. I mean, there's even stuff like, you can just go down the line with this. There's even stuff where they think people that are high IQ are like the good people, and people that are low IQ are the bad people. And although they'll never quite say it like that, but that's basically what they mean. And a good rebuttal to this, a lot of people don't know this, but all of the Nazis that were tried at the Nuremberg trials, for some bizarre reason, they were all administered an IQ test. And as you could maybe kind of expect, a lot of them were somewhat intelligent. Again, like, we're not conflating intelligence with virtue, but like, Hermann Goering, I believe, had an IQ of 130, 135, something like that. Somebody could look it up. And it's like, I don't know why they chose to do that. I guess they did it just to prove that these people were responsible for their actions and knew what they were doing. But clearly, we would not, unless you're one of those insane edgelords on the internet, I think we can all say that the Nazi officials were pretty bad people. But they were all, like, at least above average in intelligence. So even that is not a proxy for virtue. It's like, yes, there are lots of intelligent people that contribute really good things to society, come up with cures to diseases, invent technologies that extend our lifespan and help produce food, and all the good things that a lot of people do. And people that invented the internet and different components of it, I guess you could debate whether the internet's a good thing or not, but when you need to, like, work on your car and watch an informational video on YouTube, feels like a good thing. So those were pretty smart people that did that, but then there's a lot of really intelligent people that used that for, like, all kinds of evil as well. We could all think of those people. So I don't know what inspired this rant, but it's like, man, just everybody is trying to, like, find some easy answer to how we know who the virtuous people are. It's like people will just want to do anything but just be a good person. And this is an encouragement to not think that way, to be an individualist and to judge character on your own without any of these ideologies and stuff that are pretty much, at least at the very best scenario, partially or completely BS. Don't think that way. Don't accept that framing. Focus on your own character and have standards for the relationships in your life. I don't know. Just felt like something I should say. Yeah, most of you guys are going to be cool and know that I'm making a philosophical point, not a political one, but don't go on and on about, like, this candidate or this person or that person. That's not the point of this. The point of this is we're the gratitude gang, right? Gratitude is a virtue. Fundamentally, being interested in gratitude is, at least in part, being interested in virtue. So that's kind of why this is relevant. Pug boy. Little pug dish. Purple Einstein. Einstein. Everybody gets a cupcake. Smilodon skull. Man, look how crazy that is. Wah. I think one project for next year, I think I'm gonna expand my my skull line, but make like crazy fantasy skulls, like alien, reptilian creature skulls that are just insane. You know, it might be a little tough to make them look good, but imagine that, but it's like some creature from space that wants to eat your face off. Chucky Norris. Even Chucky gets a cupcake. Show me the money. Now for a man that cannot tell a lie. George Washington. Another bouncing baby Einstein. I could have said that better. Nosferatu. Black kitty cat can. Honestly, looks pretty great. Last thing of the day, very large saber-tooth skull. Getting late, last few things. We are going to rehab another printer, but this time it's this one. And I'm not even sure it doesn't work. I don't know what problems I don't know what problem it has because it hasn't printed anything in a long time. I feel like a good measure of how tired I am is how hard it is for me to talk. Anyway, we are going to just try and print something on it overnight and see if it works. And if it doesn't, we'll fix whatever problem it has. We're just gonna do an Einstein because we're gonna need a bunch of Einsteins, and I do have Einsteins that are in the queue now that need made, but even if it's extra, that's fine. Time to close up. All the worker bees, small and large, are printing adequately and productively. Made a ton of filament. Rehabbed a printer, or at least it appears that the printer we tested out is working good. Oh man, what a day. Well, we got quite a bit done today. Man, we're just stacking up those D20s and those sharks and everything. And man, sales are already starting to go through the roof. Sales in the last few days are like as good as sales were 3 Christmases ago. Meaning like in the thick of Christmas, I'm selling before Christmas now what I used to sell, you know, in the midst of it. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. I don't know if this is gonna be the biggest Christmas season ever. If it isn't, I bet it's gonna be about as big as the biggest one. It might edge it out a little bit. But yeah, feeling good. We'll read some comments from the last video. And yes, it was Ethan Hawke who was in Gattaca, not Ben Affleck. I saw that in like high school, so I'm counting that as half credit. Real Snail 3D says, I have bosses for uncles. They all appreciate fine footwear. Yeah, I think that guy's in the mob. Clunkers Customs wrote that it was like a year before they had their first sale, maybe with an Etsy store, I don't know exactly where they said, and that they just kept making more and more stuff, and eventually it's kind of a snowball effect. That is a very, very common story, not just among 3D printing businesses, but like e-commerce. If you ever pay attention to print on demand people, like the people that do shirts, mugs, etc., that is very often true with them. They just make a bunch of designs, they do kind of niche research, and eventually you just hit something. And that's really, there's no magic formula really. It's more like you just make a bunch of stuff, you notice what sells or at least what gets views, and make more of that stuff. 2B3D asked a question about setting up a Discord. I don't know really anything about Discord. I use it for a couple things. But if somebody wants to set up a Discord server, I'm not saying no. I might even join it. Oh man. Ugh. The good and bad of Christmas season is like, it's so easy to sleep because I'm so tired by the end of it. But that's kind of a good thing. Oh man, what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, tomorrow, next episode, we're featuring, I can't talk at night. We're featuring another business. I'm keeping it a surprise, but you guys seem to really like when I did a little shout out to businesses that we, the Gratitude Gang, have, introducing some of the members to other people and showing off what they make and what their setup is and stuff. If you like that, let me know in the comments, because I like the idea of it, but I want to make sure that that's something you guys are into. So you seemed receptive, but yeah, let me know in the comments if you like it when I feature all these different shops that are in the audience. And now it's the moment you've been waiting for. The Gratitude Gang Up. Let me know what you are grateful for. Let me know the moments in your life that bring you levity. What kind of coffee are you drinking? Do you wear shoes, or are you primarily a sandals person? Why are you wearing sandals in the wintertime? You can answer this and many other questions conveniently in the comment section. And also, I just want to say, Scott's 3D has gotten a whole bunch of good reviews from everybody that bought the little Chihuahua guys. But there's still a bunch more that haven't been, I mean, some of them are like being shipped. So if you've got yours and you haven't left a review, definitely leave Scott a nice 5-star review. He's a stand-up guy. I've got more Chihuahua selfies that have been sent in, and if you haven't sent yours in, hit me up on Facebook or however you want, and give me that image so we can add it to the montage. But yeah, tell me in the comments what you're grateful for, what projects you got working on, and go ahead and like another person's comment. We have a very vibrant, so vibrant comment section where you'll get lots of encouragement, and I will give you a thumbs up, probably give you a heart, and like I said, if you give thumbs ups, you're probably gonna get some, because that's how it works. So, oh man, busy times, but thanks for watching. I really appreciate you guys, and this has been a great almost 4 months. Almost 4 months. Yep. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one. Catch you next time. Peace out.